Hello, happy holiday to you and you. Welcome. This is Citizen Jones taking over from my colleague Ayo Ozugbakun. He is unwinding, so to speak. Now, we are discussing education in 63 years of our countryhood. Well, some would say nationhood. Federal universities, we can say, are springing up across the country. About 50 of them as we sit here. And you're asking, are they necessary?
Federal universities, they are necessary, but at the rate we are going, I believe that we are approaching what you can call a proliferation of federal universities. It was not a bad idea to create those federal universities that Goodluck Jonathan created at that time.
Okay.
You know, communities or states that didn't have federal universities were given federal universities. But the way it's going now, a lawmaker will just get up from the National Assembly, demand that they should give his community, his constituency, a federal university. No one talks about the problem of funding, because funding is the big problem here.
I heard you talk copiously about funding.
Yes, because when we are growing up, we have very few of them. By the end of 1962, we had just 5, for example. So they got all the attention that they needed. But so many things are competing for the funds of government. So setting up so many universities is not really what matters. People will argue that, India has far more universities than we have, America has far more universities than we have. But we
Nobody
don't have
thinks
the
about
same level
quality
of funding as these people.
Which affect quality.
Yes. At the end of the day, you are not going to find the right teachers. You are not going to be able to equip the laboratories.
The infrastructure, maybe.
The infrastructure, you are not going to be able to expand them. A lot of federal universities don't even have hostels, for example. They don't have hostels.
I hear a great many of them are glorified secondary schools.
Yes, you need to enter some of them, apart from a few buildings built by TED Fund. There's really nothing that makes it look like a university. You know, the way we used to, universities were rarefied environments, the way we used to look at them. When you see some of these, you can't fund them, you owe the teachers, you politicize the appointment of VCs, you just generally module up things. Or you praise yourself that you set up a university somewhere. If we can't fund the universities, it's not just federal universities. I'm more concerned about the state universities. I'm more concerned about them because their funding issues are greater than those of federal universities. You can't fund it. You are even owing university staff money. You are owing them salaries. So it makes no sense. And then trying to commercialize education to the point of thinking that universities must make money or must contribute money, to the national till. I don't think that is right.
Pushing them overboard.
Yes, that's what they are going through now. They can't fund. The funding is. Tell me that university that is not thinking of jacking up school fees, for example. All of them are into it. ABU has done it, so IFE too. The other day, because look, in today's Nigeria, with funding sliding seriously, and with inflation also running riot, universities can't find enough funds to even stay alive, and they won't be able to keep their best teachers.
Put simply, Jide, in 63 years of countryhood, education is in trouble.
Yes, it is. We'll get to that. People will see clearly that we are not where we should be.
Kunle, by the same token, about 147 private universities are in the offing. So you are asking, is it not the same side, two sides of the same coin? Because in the area of not funding federal universities and private universities are coming, your quality, something is missing.
Yeah, something is missing, and honestly, I get worried when I see the news about the federal government approving the universities or setting up new universities and all that. It gets me worried. For example, the existing universities can be expanded. If you think you want more people, you know, the universities to take in more people, it's possible.
Yes.
You will not duplicate leadership, duplicate running costs, duplicate. You can, but Nigeria has not been doing that. Believe me, this thing went berserk under the last administration. They were just doing anyhow. And you see ordinary lawmakers, his own town, his own village decides a federal university. And they were getting away with it so much that some of us were saying, okay, you want to create universities, you need certain studies, you need certain things to be done, to be put in place, not just announcement. That is easy.
Yeah.
What about implications? What about planning? And nobody cared. They were just announcing and announcing. And this is a government, this is a country that is unable to fund its existing universities. I cannot sit down here today. I can't tell you how many universities that were created under Buhari. Federal, I'm talking about federal universities, because it was always news, federal colleges of education, federal polytechnic, federal this, federal that, monotech. They were just announcing. Jonathan did the same. You know what I'm saying? You see, these are educated people, and why did they do it? I don't know, but it's not good for our country. You need to plan very well, because education is the soul of everything.
Yeah.
For example, in Nigeria, as I keep saying, we need to sit down. Because it's easy to blame the president, to blame the governors, to blame the National Assembly, blame the Vice Chancellor, blame. No. We should blame ourselves too. All of us contribute to the rot we have in our education system today. For example, in tertiary education, in many parts of the world, there's something they call cost sharing. We need to have a sincere conversation around that topic. Some people, imagine it's easy today. You said, oh, I'm saying no, the roof is leaking, water is leaking, there's no water, there's no electricity. But ask, how much did you pay? For example, let's say Unilag or LASU or any university in a cosmopolitan place like Lagos. And when you are asked, how much did you pay for that bed space? You didn't pay up to 20,000. Not just for 1 month, not just for one semester, for entire year. You understand me? And everybody comes in with electric cooking, and you consume electricity. Unilag said it spends 1.7 billion annually on electricity alone. So where do you get that money
from?
How much is the school fees? So we need to have,
which is above subvention.
So when you sit down and look in countries that we all rush to, because people think it's only children of the big men, the politicians, the president, the vice president, the governors, the minister, all those that rush to UK, America. Even the average families struggle to send their children there, and they go to school there. You see, you have a child that attended a primary school, a secondary school, private, where they are paying 300, 500, some 1 million. That same child wants to attend university, let's say Unilag or OAU or UR or whatever. You now pay 50,000, you will take up arms and say you want to burn down everywhere. We need to think, cost sharing.
Yeah.
We need to calm down, plan. How many universities do we have? What about the enrollment figure and all that? What do we need to do this?
In the interim.
Then when you plan, you now put in percentages. Okay, who takes care of this? Who takes care of honest conversation, we do it. That's what happens in London, UK. That's what happens in the US. And you will see the international students, pays more than the home students.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For example, in the US, what do you pay? what you will pay is different from what the Americans will pay. That's stage one. Stage two, if you're an American, for example, let's say Nigeria is America. If you're a Lagosian, that is they don't define the Lagosian by my father was born here, my mother. No, do you work and live here? That's what makes you. If you live here and you work here, that's what, or your father lives there and works, that's what makes you. What you will pay is different from out of state. In state is also different from out of state. So everything is defined.
Every environment.
Everything is defined. And when you have this, you know that, oh, this is the revenue I'm expecting. This is this. You plan around that. We don't have that in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And we want quality.
And everything, as you can see, revolves around.
It revolves around money because even the lecturers are poorly paid. You see and you wonder.
Yeah.
That's why, because they are poorly paid, that you see that they can't even pay full attention to the students in their care. They are hopping from one, because all of those private universities is still lecturers
from federal
universities that they use. They are the ones who help them, to teach the students. They find time. The lecturers create the time to go and teach in those. Yes, to go and pay, teach there and make some money. So there are problems that we are kind of masking. There are serious problems that we are kind of masking. Qualitative
education,
instruction.
Okay.
Is not the level, the quality and level of instruction has gone down. So where the private universities can find a good lecturer, for example, maybe a professor, they will tell him, come and work. I know some even, traveling from University of Ilorin, for example, when in the early years of Ladoke Akintola, a lot of the lecturers were always shuttling. Yes, along that road. Always shuttling to go and teach there. I know that state universities can't find enough qualitative teachers. Private universities can't find enough. So it begs the question, are we producing the right quality of teachers? This problem
for today's challenging world.
Yes, and not just for all levels of education, whether it's primary or secondary or tertiary. Are we producing the right quality? The answer is no.
Yeah,
because we are producing.
So I don't forget this.
Yeah,
it's crazy to say in 63 years of countryhood, we're still talking about out-of-school children.
Yes, well, that one. There are different reasons for it.
Okay.
Insecurity is a big enabler of the out-of-school children syndrome. Yeah. For example, Boko Haram was opposed to the idea of Western education. And every community that they invaded...
It still is.
Yes. Every community, I'm trying to explain how...
Okay,
Yes. And every community that they invaded, they set ablaze all the schools that were there. I was in federal government called Buniyadi in 2016. They went into that school and killed more than 40 male students in the night. The boys were sleeping. And federal government colleges of those days, the way they used to build them, staff quarters, laboratories, everything was there. There was no building that was left standing. They set ablaze all the buildings. No building with a roof on its head.
Because now, it is avowed to Western.
They don't want to see. And they were killing. They also killed a lot of teachers. They killed thousands of teachers. Those guys. So without classrooms, where will the students stay? A lot of the students meant for that school naturally dropped out of school.
Yeah.
As we can jubilate that school enrollment is going up in some places, but as it's going up, people are dropping out of school. Some, their parents can't pay. So they would train them up to maybe secondary level and then they stop. Or train them until the end of primary school and they drop. So all of those schools, you go to the northeast, all of those schools that Boko Haram destroyed, they send them packing. So where you see schools standing, in Borno State, for example, largely in Borno South, because Boko Haram naturally could not overrun many parts of Borno South. All those Biu area, they couldn't. So schools are there, students are there. But in other parts of the state,
they ran riot.
And what you now have, because a good number of those communities are still not safe today, what you now have are mega schools with so many classrooms built in the urban centers. Children of IDPs and other people can use those ones. But how about the local governments where schools have been lost and all that? So we have a lot of out-of-school children. About 60% of out-of-school children in Nigeria are from the north. And northwest and northeast account for the overwhelming majority. Yes, when you go to the northwest, there is rampant banditry, where you kidnap more than 300 students, for example. The bulk of those students will come back.
Obviously.
I went to Jengebe, where they kidnapped those girls some years back. And the teachers told me that only about half of the students returned. When the school was opened about a year later, only about half returned. So we have serious problems. The classrooms are gone. We need to spend a lot of money to build new classrooms, even if the children are willing to come back. So insecurity has ensured that a good number of our students feel like going to school. Even if they want to go, the parents will say no. Look at boarding facilities that made a lot of us to enjoy schooling. It's gone in most parts of the northwest and northeast.
Yeah, Kunle, it is said that memory is very unkind to an old man. So you look back on the many years, as they have said. I was in boarding school. What about you?
No, I didn't go to boarding.
Okay. So boarding school was like a home away from home. But all that is gone. Is all hope lost? As we take the discussion home.
When you say it's all hope lost, without hope, there's no life. There won't be any reason to live. That's what, like the oxygen.
More like asking, are we jinxed?
Like the oxygen that keeps us alive. That's hope. I cannot see it. I can't say that all hope is lost. All we need is somebody to start the right conversation and, we can change this system. Because in this same Nigeria, in this same country, we produced solid education system that produced solid Nigerians. Today, why have we not been? We can retrace our steps. Today, from the universities, appointments of lecturers and non-teaching staff is based purely not on merit, on politics, on nepotism, on tribalism, and favoritism. If we handle those four things, then we come down. Because we have spoken a lot about funding. There are other things that are not about funding, things we created by ourselves. We talked about tribalism, we talked about nepotism, favoritism, and politicization.
And corruption too.
And corruption, God bless you, corruption. Now, if you come down to the other levels, because at independence, when we had the regions, the federal government was not involved in secondary and primary education. It was the regions and now that's not the same thing. We can restructure everything. The over-centralization of things in Nigeria, where everything has been. If you look at the way we recruit students into universities, to me, a country that wants to compete with other countries cannot be doing what we are doing.
Yeah.
You will have lists for emayas, from obas, from politicians, from government to this, to that. And whereas that was not the order of the day before. We need to do that. Look at the quality of people that come into the universities for education.
Right.
Many of them were not meant to be in the universities.
Yes.
Okay.
You understand me? What do we do? Because when they come, they know nothing.
Yeah.
Or next to nothing. Come to the master class. Come and see the quality of people in the master's class. This is not the Nigeria that some of us grew up to know. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we need to go back. We talked a lot about funding, but we must tackle the issue of corruption. We must tackle the issue of nepotism when it comes to appointment and promotion.
And so on.
In the universities today, it's very rare to see anyone that is meritoriously promoted or appointed. It is either they did it through corruption, they did it through politics, they did it through nepotism, favoritism.
Adekunle, I must thank you very kindly for your time. By the way, enjoy what's left of the holiday.
Thank you.
Happy holiday to you.
Safety.
Adekunle Yusuf.
Holiday is just to begin tomorrow.
I'm going to work now.
Yeah. To some of us who are senior to Nigeria, we just look at the Peking, you know.
Your Peking. See my Peking, I say, hey, that is pleased to go.
And as they say,
you and Nigeria no be mates.
No, it go past Nigeria.
So, but Nigeria don't see 99. Enough is enough.
Apology to
Zebediah. All right. Our next
person will see 99 go see 100.
Yeah. But if person cross 99 bridges,
only one remain to see 100.
Who 100 be?
Who 100?